The following program is brought to you by Podcast One Sportsnet.
The Starlight Lounge presents An Evening with the Progressive Box.
Oh, what a great audience. Let's dim the lights for this next one. Nope, too much. There it is. Gotta get things just right. Like Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Tell us what you want to pay, and we help you find coverage options that fit your budget. And now, the mood is right. Wait, the lights are back on again. Trudy, can you? And now it's completely dark.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Direct from the heart of Lakers Nation, Podcast One Sportsnet brings you America's Lakers Podcast with Jay Mohr, the official podcast of the Los Angeles Lakers. Get the inside scoop without the gossip about your favorite team that lives up to the purple and gold standard. Here's your host, Jay Mohr.
America's Lakers Podcast, live on tape to you from the underground. I'm Jay Mohr at JMohr37. Aaron Larsoul, Corey Fry. Aaron Larsoul at Aaron Larsoul.
Yes, just like it sounds or is spelled or phonetics
Suel.
or something. Yes, Larsuel.
Say that again, honey.
Larsuel. And Fry42, and I will make no joke. I tried to do that 2 episodes in a row. No joke about your name. Fry, FRY, 42 on the Twitter machine.
You just said FRI.
No, FRY. I just
But
said
how
it
does she
quickly.
spell 42?
I don't know. With an F, maybe? I hope.
Rough stretch for our Los Angeles Lakers. This is not the purple and gold standard. A lot of injuries. This is the black and blue standard.
It is quickly becoming, yes.
Lonzo Ball not playing in consecutive games with his injury.
Yes, the sprained knee he woke up with in Memphis.
And we know he's hurt.
Yep.
He's a gamer. He's a baller. He's game.
He even could be called a big baller, perhaps.
Yeah, I guess if I ever thought about that. But I'll tell you this: sometimes he's an air baller. But you know what? He's a very good NBA point guard, and you can see with this Los Angeles Lakers team when he's not in the lineup.
I'm going to give you all the numbers to prove how important he is to the Lakers a little later on in the episode.
Our buddy from Laker Film Room, Pete Zayas, said, he said, I have a basic understanding of the Lakers playbook, but when Zoe's not there, I don't even know really what's happening. I don't know if they do either. And when Brandon Ingram's not there also.
Of course, yeah, it magnifies that. And the problem becomes, and I talked about this on our last episode with roster construction, and a flaw that I noticed over the summer and then into training camp with the roster construction. The Lakers, to be frank, we always talk about a spade is a spade on this podcast. To be frank, the Lakers do not have another NBA point guard on their roster other than Lonzo Ball. So when he is not there, there's nobody to do simple things like organizing the offense and getting guys in the right spots. They're kind of scratching and clawing, and you can play Jordan Clarkson a little bit at point guard. He did that a couple years ago, but he's not a natural point guard. Tyler Ennis just isn't good enough to play in the NBA as a starting point guard. And I want to see a little bit more from Caruso. There's some things there that I like that maybe you can find, an NBA caliber backup point guard out of him. But so far, it's just between him and Ennis, it's not enough. So when Lonzo was gone, this is what you get.
This was a really odd game. We're recording this on a Wednesday night, late night, like 1 a.m. we're talking about, because we're committed to it and we love it. This is the official podcast of the Los Angeles Lakers.
We're so thrilled about that. We
absolutely are thrilled. And, we don't do the gossip or this could happen or that could go over there. We give you statistics and facts.
I got a whole bunch of them, too. For later. A whole mess of them.
Twicky, when it comes to from Buck Rogers, Twicky, and he did a good job last week on the show.
He was very helpful. Quite complimentary of me.
When it comes to analytics, is Aaron ever wrong? No. Well, okay.
It's so kind of you to say.
I don't know if that's his voice when he's saying no. Lakers starters only 8 rebounds, and is that lack of effort? I'm never going to say somebody's not trying because I'm not inside their bodies, and appearances can be deceiving. 8 rebounds, though, from the starters. There's 5 starters.
There are, yes.
That's like 1 and change each.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
How does that happen? I know.
Steven Adams is a beast on the boards, especially offensively. And I agree with you. I am never going to be one to question somebody's effort. But to be honest, the body language, specifically from Brook Lopez, the body language hasn't been very good the last few games.
He's been bugging me.
He bugs you for different reasons. He bugs you because he shoots too many threes, which I also understand. But when there's some of the perils of you and I have been talking about whether Julius should be a 4, should be a 5, if he should be a backup 5, maybe start him in some ways at 4 or 5. This is one of those games where you see the perils of that, because if you play Julius as a 5 in starters minutes, he's just not big enough sometimes in games like this where he can just get physically overpowered by Steven Adams. There was a play, I think it was in the third quarter, where Steven Adams and Julius was trying, but if my little sister is trying to box me out and is trying against me, there's going to be times where I'm just too big for her. And Steven Adams, at times, especially on the offensive glass, just is too big for Julius. So he, I didn't get an alt droopy there.
Nobody's too big for me.
Okay, thank you.
I have 10 nipples, Aaron. Oh, boy.
And I see all of them.
I'm sorry.
So that's one of the questions, and a lot of people have been on Luke about not playing Julius more and Julius's role, but that is one of the deficiencies in Julius's game, is if you're going to try to play him at center, as the Lakers have wanted to do, he isn't big enough in certain cases. There's not a lot of guys in the NBA like Steven Adams who, as we record this, if memory serves me, I looked a few days ago, he has the highest offensive rebound percentage, meaning the percentage of shots missed by his team that he rebounds and gets another attempt. He has the highest percentage in the league, which means he's the best offensive rebounder in the league. So I believe he is still the best offensive rebounder in the league, and there's going to be Steven Adams. I believe there's going to be times where, there's not a lot of them, but there are guys in the league, Marc Gasol and DeAndre Jordan and Steven Adams, a few others that are just too big to play Julius at center because he can't box them out as much as he's going to try.
He's not a center. Kentucky Lakers for 3 years, I guess 2 years in a game, 11 minutes in, he breaks his leg.
Right, yeah, his first game as a Laker, yeah.
2 years ago I went, this guy's a above average NBA 4. I know exactly. I got 10 and 10. Like, I just put that in writing over there. I'm good to go. That was 2 years ago.
And as he's been starting, he started a handful of games recently. And as a starter, I believe, I just looked this up, I think he was averaging 16-something points and almost 10, 9-something rebounds. So you're right about that. As a starter, he's a 16 and 17 and 10 guy.
So, but is that, it seems like, and of course, Laker on MLK Day, a bad loss. They're all bad losses to the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, Memphis has got a bunch of guys not playing. So, yes, that one hurts.
But they also, I think they were shooting 100% from 3, like going into the second quarter. They just didn't miss a shot. But is that Julius Randle's going to take the heat for not being good or great, I should say, at center? Like, when you put him on an island against Joel Embiid and Steven Adams, he's going to get work, but that's not his fault. I know his job is to go do whatever the coach says.
You're right.
But when you're 6'8", and you're guarding a guy 6'11", that's a house. How much of that is on Julius? Like, hey, you're 6'8". Sorry, go play center.
I think Julius. There's two things kind of at play here. One, I think but a lot of people have been on Luke about play Julius more. Why isn't he starting? And that is possibly part of the answer, because when you are playing as a 4, but especially as a 5, against backup units and backup centers, they're not going to be those dominant, huge guys that can just overpower him. They're just not as good. So Julius can exploit the mismatches in the other way, playing against guys that aren't as quick as him. The second thing is that, and we heard it from John Ireland earlier in our podcast season, and a lot of other people who have thought Julius can mimic Draymond Green. That's kind of what the model that Luke brought, that he wants from Julius. You got to play harder than everybody else. And it's just not really fair. He can do some of the things that Draymond can do. On the pick and roll, he's good. If the pick and roll ball handler gets trapped, he's good at playing 4-on-3 and initiating the offense on a short roll. There's some things he can do. He can grab the ball on a defensive rebound and go initiate the offense. He's a good ball handler for his side.
A good what now?
A good ball handler, Droopy. So there's some of those things, but frankly, like Draymond Green is a unique defensive player in the NBA because Draymond can guard ones and can guard guys a lot bigger than him because of his really long reach, because of his low center of gravity, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not really fair to expect Julius to be able to do all of the things that Draymond does because, frankly, nobody in the history of Earth has been able to do them. So it's kind of asking a lot for Julius, even as a Draymond light, to be I don't expect him to be able to battle Steven Adams. It's not fair. I mean, fair doesn't have much to do with it, but I mean, what do you expect?
Steven Adams is not hanging out at the 3-point line either. He's a little more
never in life
in the paint, back to the basket.
Exclusively, yes.
So when it's Brook Lopez, that seems like more of a problem to me. When Brook Lopez he's kind of like he's got a tent, a hammock at the 3-point line. At what point do you say, as a coach, you personally, Brook, I need you under the basket because the guy you're supposed to be guarding, you're guarding ones and twos because you're out there.
Well, defensively, always you need him under the basket. If Brook Lopez gets switched due to a screen, if Brook Lopez gets switched onto a capable, quick ball handler, you're done.
But it's often.
It is often, and you're done. Now, offensively, and we talked about this in the very first episode of the podcast when we predicted what kind of numbers guys were going to have, and I told you the Lakers' main flaw. We'll go back and listen to the first episode. But in our very first episode,
what it was?
Yes.
There's no shooters.
Correct. There's no shooters.
It's an offense of shooters. And there aren't shooters.
Yep.
Like Lou Williams would be nice.
I said the Lakers' problem is going to be they don't have anyone that can shoot. And Brook Lopez is the best shooter they have. And frankly, as terrible as this is going to sound, I probably trust Brook Lopez the most to make a three. Brook Lopez or KCP. They're like right there together. Fine. So if you don't have Brook Lopez providing that space on offense, you don't have any space on offense. And which is also why at the beginning of this, not this episode, but our podcast, why I said I really liked the combination of Julius and Brook Lopez together because, Julius can't shoot at all. Brook can stretch the floor a little bit, and it gives you different combinations that I think Lopez and Randall are a good fit to play together. But without Brook making shots, there's just no spacing. So I kind of do want him out there on offense because there's nobody else.
I really feel the Grizzlies game is a game, even with the injuries, you just got to go get it. You have to win it. And again, I'm not on the court. I didn't play organized basketball past like 5th grade, so I'm not out there.
Sure.
But are these losses demoralizing to the point where they'll affect them longer than normal? Because there was a real feel-good 4 in a row.
Yeah, 4 in a row was good, yeah. And, including a win over the Spurs.
And the Grizzlies aren't world beaters, and they had a lot of, like, Michael Conley's out.
The Grizzlies are bad.
And OKC is a very good team. Well, they're supposed to be a lot better,
They
actually.
are. Well, they are the 4 seed, the 5 seed now, and they are finally kind of hitting their stride. So... And Roberson was back today. Roberson missed 8 games. He was back tonight. So
there's your 4 points from him.
But he'll guard you. He's one of the best defensive players in the league. He'll guard you. But you're right. You're being kind with the 4 points.
Are these? Do you see these losses and the Indiana Pacers coming up? Are these losses ones that will have a carryover effect in your opinion? You can't predict the future, but more so. I mean, the 9-game losing streak was awful, but it seems like once they snapped out of it, they really snapped out of it. Is this going to be more of a malaise, would you guess?
I don't think so. I think I
don't either. That's good.
I don't think so. I think it's more, it's not disappointed at the losing and here we go. I think the guys are kind of disappointed that, there's been little nicks and bumps. It's an NBA season, right? And this is going to happen and everybody gets beat up. But I think, it's disappointing and frustrating. Not so much the losing, but just that the Lakers, I don't think, feel like they've been able to get their guys together, gelling and playing together and figuring out everything they want to do with, going to the Pacers game tomorrow as you listen to this, but on Friday, it's very likely that Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, Kuzma, and KCP, like every guy that initiates offense basically isn't going to be there. So I think that is probably frustrating to the guys, to Luke, to Magic, to Rob, to Gene. Like everybody involved, I think, is probably pretty frustrated because it's kind of difficult to really assess what you have, especially with the trade deadline coming up. It's difficult to really say, this is where we are, this is what we have, this is what we need to do, because you don't really get a full picture of who the guys are, combining with each other.
With the trade deadline coming up in February
8th.
This is not when you want guys hurt. Like, this is like being snake bit almost as far as injuries. Every team gets injured. Just ask Doc Rivers. He gets out of bed and there's a MASH unit outside of his house.
Yeah, and then he'll tell you,
don't play Blake, he's hurt.
Right.
Starters only getting 8 rebounds. Lack of effort. Where I know you said, I said something like this is our second go at this, because the first go I think Oklahoma City, I don't think crashing the boards, and you're like, you're going to want to start over because they're the best rebounding team in the NBA.
Yeah, Steven Adams is the best offensive rebounder in the league, yeah.
Is he doing like all the heavy lifting? Because it's like Melo, Paul George. I know Russell Westbrook's good for 10 and 11 and 12.
Yeah, so Russell Westbrook is, like Lonzo, Russell Westbrook is an incredible rebounder for his size.
And a great out-of-area rebounder.
That's right. Very good.
Why only 8 rebounds? What would you surmise? I mean, because to get a rebound, you got to box out. Yeah, it seems like it comes down to fundamentals at some point.
Yeah, I mean, rebounding is, there's some luck involved, right? Which just how the ball bounces. But
guards, when guards get a lot, not Zoe, he gets up in skies for them.
Rebounds are generally about effort and want to and willpower and. Dennis Rodman wasn't the biggest dude, wasn't the most athletic, et cetera. Ben Wallace wasn't either. So, I mean, you always, again, I'm not going to question guys' effort because I'm not.
What did you see?
I saw a lot of Julius Randle getting overpowered by Steven Adams.
All right. Then you got Nance, Kuz, Ingram.
Yeah, I mean, Kuz was hurt. Ingram was hurt. So, and frankly, look.
And where was Lopez? Was that because he was out of the 3-point line? I'm not picking on the guy.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of the toughest guys in the league to stay with is Russell Westbrook, and they run a lot of high pick and roll for Russell Westbrook. And how we talked about if you drop in the pick and roll, we talked about with Lonzo, and I told you that Russell Westbrook does this a lot, and Ben Simmons does it a lot. Where if the big drop, if you go under and then the big drops, we'll take a dribble back to kind of use that runway to attack the big's body. And once you do that, it kind of takes him, he has to contest the shot. It takes him out of rebounding position.
And he needs help, which is accelerated gravity.
Very good. So then it's guys helping, and the guys that are coming to help, because Brook Lopez is not on Steven Adams anymore, the guys that are coming to box out Steven Adams they're tagging from somewhere else. So it's
poor Caruso.
So it's Caruso, it's Corey Brewer, it's Julius Randle, it's Brandon Ingram, and those guys are just going to get flat overpowered.
He just
by
weight
Steven
rooms
Adams.
him. Lonzo Ball woke up with swelling in his knee. That's a very odd way to get a knee sprain. I didn't really see it in the game when it happened.
Nobody did. He just woke up and
woke
his knee,
up to a swollen knee. Maybe he got bit by a spider or something.
Yes, in one of those strange, I don't know where the team stays in Memphis, but one of those strange
haunted hotels. Oklahoma City's got the big one. KCP,
that's right,
his injury, Aaron?
KCP in the second quarter sprained his Achilles. He was kind of going for a loose ball, and he got his foot rolled up on, not a dirty play at all, a bunch of guys kind of diving for, it was like a fumble in the NFL. A bunch of people tried to dive on it and got his foot caught and rolled up on. So I would guess he kind of hobbled off and didn't come back. Again, this is a guess.
Well, let's not guess.
My guess
is Achilles.
My guess is he's going to be out for a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't think you'll see him Friday.
Kuz hurt his finger. One of the
fifth metatarsal,
not a phalanges. A
sure.
metatarsal.
Let's call it a phalanges.
No, it's a metatarsal. Yeah. Shooting hand or no?
I believe so. Yeah.
That's a big problem because he likes to stroke.
Oh boy.
So. Yeah, I mean, I think
KCP, Lonzo Ball.
I don't know
starting
an update.
backcourt is out.
Right.
Kuzma's out with his finger.
It looked to me, I haven't seen any official release, and I haven't spoken with anybody in OKC yet. I haven't spoken to anybody in the official Lakers traveling party yet, but it looked to me like Brandon may have kind of re-aggravated that ankle. So it would not surprise me at all if all four of those guys, who are basically all of your offensive creators, no, that's not fair because Julius creates too, but your main four offensive creators, if they missed at least the Indiana game on Friday.
We're going to take a quick break, and I want to ask you, you're going to explain to our listeners of America's Lakers podcast, the official podcast of the Los Angeles Lakers. Aaron Larsoul is going to tell you just how valuable Lonzo Ball is. Also, I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to think about this for a second. When you talk about Draymond Light,
okay,
I want you to start thinking, don't answer now, who in the NBA actually is. If you give me like three names, that a guy that is a four that does play center, well, not like Draymond, obviously. And does it surprise you a team whose president is the greatest, in my opinion, I have him over Jordan barely, but Magic, especially point guard of all time, that this team is actually, the cupboard's bare once one point guard goes out. Look, it's still good stuff. We got the All-Star game coming to L.A. Kuz, Zoe, Ingram, these are guys, Randall, these are guys any team in the NBA would take in a heartbeat. These are good players, and as Jeff Van Gundy said, and we quoted it earlier in these episodes back a couple months ago, your best players have to play better more often. Ingram certainly has. Zoe has stepped it up. And Kuzma as well. Let's take this quick break, and we're going to answer those questions. Also, we're going to play Jeopardy.
I like it.
Jeopardy.
Shout out to Alex Trebek. I think he's healing up. We talked about it before. He had a little thing. He's healing up and is trying to get back to the show. But I think they taped them like 6 months in advance, so they've got a bunch stored up.
Wait, will you see him without his mustache? It's like Tom Selleck. You're like, what happened? Yeah. Don't do that anymore.
Ever again. Which my stepdad, Pops, shaved his mustache like 10, 15 years ago, and we went, what? This? No.
Hey, what's with your lip?
No, stop that.
We'll be right back.
Go back immediately.
Scary.
We'll give you a couple hours on America's Lakers podcast.
Podcast One has new shows on our new app. Check out all the cool features to help you explore our exciting new programming, like America's Lakers podcast with Jay Mohr, So Random with Corinne Olympios, Attack Each Day, The Harbaugh's podcast, Not Just Sports with Susie Schuster and Rich Eisen, and Sessions with Randy Jackson, as well as your old favorites like The Lady Gang, Steve Austin, Shaquille O'Neal, and Adam Carolla. Get the new Podcast One app in the App Store, Google Play, or PodcastOne.com.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive #1, #2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hey, Jamie, it's me, Jamie. This is your daily pep talk. I know it's been rough going ever since people found out about your a cappella group, Mad Harmony, but you will bounce back. I mean, you're the guy always helping people find coverage options with the Name Your Price tool. It should be you giving me the pep talk. Now get out there, hit that high note, and take Mad Harmony all the way to nationals this year! Sorry, it's pitchy.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
America's Lakers podcast, the official podcast of your Los Angeles Lakers. We don't make news, we break news. We don't give you...
Sounds like a rap line. Did you pull that from somebody?
Yeah. MC Escher.
Yeah.
So
is that the dude who does the like drawings where the hands are like touching each other and you go like, up the stairs and it leads to the stairs again?
With pencils.
Yeah, okay, cool.
He's the coolest, man.
I don't know why I know that.
No, because you should.
I'm sort of proud of myself and sort of
embarrassed. You should be. He's
embarrassed.
like a super famous rapper artist. Okay. Lakers, tough stretch, obviously. MLK Day, as Aaron pointed out on our MLK Day episode on Monday, it's an honor to play on MLK Day on national television.
Especially in Memphis.
And you don't want to lay an egg on national TV, of course, ever. But on national TV, it's the world's watching. And the world's watching the Lakers all the time. Oklahoma City, 114. LA Lakers, 90. Starters, only 8 rebounds. Lonzo Ball not being in the game, he's a very good player. His shot isn't where we want it to be, but if you told everybody when he was at UCLA, the Lakers are going to pick this guy, and almost halfway through the season he's going to have 10, 8, and 8, you'd go, oh, great. Mm-hmm. But that's not what people are saying. They like to play or hate. As Reggie Jackson said, fans don't boo nobodies. Markelle Fultz, by the way, I saw a video of the number 1 pick in the draft's jump shot. That shot looks like it comes out of a catapult in medieval times.
Yeah, it looks like your internet service isn't good enough. So if you watch him, like if you go on Twitter and watch him shoot, it looks like your internet service stops for a little bit and glitches. Yeah, Markelle, it's a mess. But the Lakers, for whatever, look, part of it is Lonzo's a pretty good player. Is he really good? No. Is he great? No.
Next year he's going to be.
I think he may get
bananas.
there. I think he may get there. So part of it is that, and part of it, frankly, is the other options the Lakers run out as the underground comes crashing down.
Yeah, we're like losing pieces of ceiling here.
I think part of it is that Lonzo's pretty good, and the other part of it, I think, is that the options to replace him are frankly deficient. So it makes Lonzo look even better. I mean, I've got numbers. If you want to get to them now, or if you want to wait a second, I've got numbers.
The quick question was when you mentioned Draymond Light. What Luke is trying to do with Julius Randle, play him at the 5. You said second unit, but Draymond's out there on an island with Embiid, with Adams.
When it matters for the Warriors, in the playoffs, they don't use it that much in the regular season. But games that matter to the Warriors, at the end of them, Draymond Green is playing center with the Hamptons 5 lineup, we call it.
The 6'6.5" Draymond Green with a wingspan of 90 feet.
Yep.
Who in the NBA is that player that Luke is trying to get? Julius Randle, trying to get this going here?
Nobody. Nobody. There is one Draymond Green. It's one of the reasons why the Warriors are probably the best team ever, because he's unique.
I think he's the MVP of the team every single year, and that's the guy I would attack if I had to play them in the finals. I would just go after Draymond and hope he kicks me.
But I mean, there are teams that play like small ball.
Who's a 4 that plays center also?
There are teams if you want to talk about who the Warriors will probably meet in the finals. The Cavs, sometimes just to combat the Warriors, the Cavs play Kevin Love at 5. He's a 4. The Cavs play LeBron.
He's 7 feet tall. I mean,
who? Kevin Love?
6'10", yeah.
Yeah, but he's a natural forward. They play LeBron at center sometimes. The Houston Rockets play PJ Tucker, who's like 6'7". They play him at center occasionally. So there are teams that do it, but like to be able to initiate offense like Draymond can do and guard multiple positions like Draymond can, he's unique.
Is Julius Randle generating offense when he plays 5?
Yes, and the thing that Julius does really well, there's not a lot of guys in the NBA that can do it as well as he does. He is one of the, we call it grab and go. He's one of the guys that grabs a defensive rebound and can dribble, is a good enough ball handler to dribble up the court and initiate offense. A lot of it is for himself. But
I have seen Julius do that, and last year I was like, this guy's got too many handles. Like, there's too much Julius going coast to coast like Dominique Wilkins, but that was also a construct of who am I supposed to give it to?
Right. Who's the other option?
Like, right. I'm running ahead of the whole crew here.
Right.
Is this square peg round hole trying to get Julius Randle to play 5 because you said with the second unit, but he's like Draymond Green closes the show against starters when it matters. JaVale McGee's not out there in crunch time, and neither is
correct
Ava or Jaja.
Yes, neither of the Gabors, none of them.
Is this square peg round hole? Is this something that maybe somebody, Magic or Rob or somebody should pull Luke aside and go, maybe just a really good 4?
So I think you can do some of both. I think that sometimes you want to kind of think of what pieces fit together, and sometimes you want to just have your 5 best guys out there, and Julius Randle is one of the 5 best Lakers, period. So I think you can do some of both. I don't love playing Julius against just huge, talented brutes at center, but there aren't a lot of those in the NBA. Happened to find one tonight, but there aren't a lot of those in the NBA. I think Julius should be the starter at 4 and then should get some minutes as the backup 5. I don't want to see Julius out there against Embiid. I don't want to see him out there against Steven Adams because it's just like it's asking him to do something that physically he can't do.
Why do you know that? And maybe there's a lot of coaches on that bench. Do you think that comes up in meetings and film studies?
No,
maybe we should stop doing this?
I think they did do that. And for all the fans out there that were clamoring for Julius to play a lot more, I think that's what Luke was doing. Luke was saying, we want Julius to be our backup 5.
Yeah, but
he was also playing some minutes at 4, but
when he's playing against Embiid, for an entire 4, that's not backup 5. That's kind of humiliating.
That was imperfect. Let's say.
Does it surprise you that? And I realize I'm asking you questions where I'm setting you up for a negative answer.
No,
it's not my intentions, but when Lonzo
answers
Ball
are the
goes
answers.
out, Tyler Ennis is not. He looks like Muttley.
He does.
And Russian. And Caruso, is Caruso a 2 or 1? He's an Aggie.
No, I think Caruso's a 1. I think it's time. This is just me, but I've seen enough of Tyler Ennis. I think Caruso should be. Look, I think Hart or Clarkson should be starting at 1 when Lonzo's out, but I can understand there are some reasons where you want to have that punch off the bench, and I don't mind Clarkson coming off the bench. But
let's get LeBron and bring him off the bench because it seems like the team is really obsessed with the second unit, which is a fancy word for bench.
Yes, I've seen enough.
That's the bench. Starters play.
I've seen enough of. Me personally, I've seen enough of Tyler Ennis, so I'm
tired
like to see
every team in the league going, we want punch off the bench. Like, yeah, sure, but I want also punch when I start the game because they play the most minutes, no? Not the Lakers specifically.
Sure, your starters, yeah, everybody's starters. Like every 5-man unit, the starters play more than other. I would like to see. I would like to switch the minutes at this point between Caruso and Ennis and see if Caruso.
With David Nwaba, is he better?
By the way, he was fantastic tonight against the Warriors. I think he had 20.
Once they re-signed him and guaranteed his when the Bulls guaranteed his contract, he seemed to go like that confidence is what he needed. That vote of yes.
Yeah, I mean,
is he better than Ennis and Caruso combined?
Yes,
combined.
Yeah, probably. What's actually really interesting to me is
great defender.
I was thinking about this a couple days ago. And as I said, I think he had 20 tonight, and he did a really good job in the second half guarding Steph Curry.
I didn't know he could shoot.
Yeah, I mean, he can't really yet, but he's still. But what was really interesting to me is I was thinking about what is the best case scenario for, and I understand, I guess, a little bit taking a flyer on GP2. And by the way, I figured out why his name is Gary Payton II and not Jr.
By the way,
because he has a half brother who is named Gary Payton Jr.
By the way, I like how you very coolly skipped over the fact that you spoke to Gary Payton.
Yeah, and
got the info because that's how we do it.
Sure. Yes.
Let's hear some Lonzo numbers because he's got a lot of haters because of his dad.
What I was going to say though is
LeVar be quiet.
I kind of the flyer on GP2. Let's get some guys in here and see if they can kind of stick in certain roles. But I think Nwaba is basically like the best case scenario for Gary Payton II is a shorter Nwaba. So that kind of struck me the other day, and then I watched some of it after the Lakers game got out of hand.
Real quick,
watched some of the Warriors.
texted with Joey Boss about you and I going to G League games, and he was like,
"He's in.
Tell me when.
Let's do it." Yeah,
Joey's the best.
Well, I think tonight. I think they play tonight as we record this, or they played tonight, and it was the first time they were home in El Segundo in like 18 days. So they've been on the road for a while. So now they'll probably be home for a while, and it's a good time for us to go.
I left my wallet in El Segundo.
Little tribe, I like it.
So Lonzo Ball, without. How are we going to do this?
Yeah, so we can do. You want to do offense or defense first?
Let's see it.
So offensively, the thing that strikes me most, they kind of just seem unorganized. But the thing that strikes me most, the guy that has the most problem, it appears, with Lonzo out, is Brandon Ingram, who shoots. I mean, I've got a lot more numbers, but we'll just leave it at every number of his is worse with Lonzo gone. His points, his rebounds, his assists, etc. But the one that really struck me, he also gets his shots in worse ways without Lonzo. Lonzo makes the game much easier for him. And that is evidenced by the fact that he shoots 46.1% on the year, and he's shooting 41% without Lonzo.
Again, that doesn't sound like a lot.
5 percentage points.
It's like carats and diamonds. Like from 1 carat to 2 carats, it's exponentially more expensive than that 1 carat.
Basically, it's 46% makes you a sort of average NBA player. Just on field goal percentage, 46% is kind of an average. Okay. Especially if you're a wing guy, slightly above average. but sort of average. And 41% is, I'm not sure you should be out here. And that's the Lonzo effect. And he is making the game easier for everybody, specifically Brandon. Brandon is, I'm going to do this. I don't think I've used this word in a couple weeks. Brandon struggling
without
Lonzo.
I'm going to say this about Lonzo Ball. Maybe the best pass I saw all year, period. There was the all the way down the court heave Hail Mary to Brandon Ingram on a dead run with his back to him under the basket against the Cavs. But the game we were at against the Spurs, he was on one end of the three-point line across from the Spurs bench, sort of driving the lane a bit, and then he came out and he just threw like a curveball across the paint to KCP, who was at the other three line in front of the Spurs bench. He missed a shot. It was the first shot of the game, actually. But that pass made me go, oh my gosh, like that was astoundingly great.
Yeah,
and I don't really remember anybody ever making that pass.
I think the best way to describe, like to encompass all of that, what you're talking about, whatever that it is, Lonzo has it.
Yeah, you have to be so strong to throw a basketball that far.
And you're mentally strong too, and be able to, I don't know who coined this phrase, but we're out here playing chess while you're playing checkers. I don't know who that comes from.
Denzel in Training Day.
He does say it there.
He's saying checkers, this is chess.
Right, he does say it in that, and I saw that.
By the
way, that movie is vastly overrated, but
I don't think so.
So true shooting percentage, another metric of just how good of a scorer and a shooter somebody is. It combines all of your shooting, free throws, twos, threes.
Let me ask you. So, go ahead. To the listener that's not as versed in basketball data as you, 5% is precipitous.
Oh, it is a huge number.
Doesn't feel like it.
It's huge.
Really? 46 to 41, you say?
It's 46 to 41. It's huge.
Okay.
I mean, and every other number is down to his points, his rebounds, his assists. Everything is down without Lonzo. 18
a night, when he was rolling.
He scores 14 and change without Lonzo a night. So true shooting percentage is a way to encompass everything that a person shoots, right? Threes are more valuable than twos are more valuable than ones, if you make them. If you account for all of that, Brandon's true shooting percentage with Lonzo is 53.3%, which, again, it's not great, but it's an average. It's an average true shooting percentage. It's decent. It's fine. Without Lonzo on the floor, it is 47.6. So it's basically 5.5 percentage points worse without Lonzo, his true shooting percentage without Lonzo, which goes from, hey, that's a decent NBA player, you're doing okay, to you probably shouldn't be on the floor.
Oh, 53.3 without Zoe.
With Zoe. And without him, it's 47.6, which is not good enough to play in the NBA level.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
So Tyler Ennis is like, what, 20?
Tyler Ennis was okay tonight. Well, he was okay shooting the ball tonight.
On the season, what do you think his field goal percentage is?
I hope
we'll circle back.
I hope it's 40, but I'm not sure it is. So that's just offensively, and that's just with one guy specifically, Ingram, who sees the biggest drop in their play without Lonzo. But
that's 6%, so that's even
it's
more.
Not good. But defensively is the bigger issue. So defensively, without Lonzo, and this includes the game tonight, with Lonzo, the Lakers give up 107.8 points per game, which is in a kind of ordinary NBA defense. Without him, they give up 122.8 points per game.
All right, say those two numbers again.
107.8 with Lonzo, 122.8 without him. And they're 0-8 without Lonzo, by the way.
That's the number.
122.8 points per game, which is
123,
which is the worst defense in NBA history by a mile.
Is Lonzo Ball that great of a defender? Or the numbers are
what they are. The part that scares me the most.
Corey, you want to say something? It's so weird. She hold the mic like that.
She got the mic like O-Dog in Menace to Society, like she's going to shoot a Korean bodega worker. She holding that mic like the Ralph Lawler stick mic. Ralph Lawler,
Yes,
the wonderful Clippers announcer, is the only guy in the NBA that holds the microphone like that. Everybody else uses a headset. Ralph Lawler,
I always hold it on the More Stories podcast.
yeah, with the crooked.
I hold it. Oh, no, I apologize. Corey.
Corey's got it kind of
you do
sideways.
this.
Back and forth like a singer.
So without Lonzo, and the part that makes it usually all of the defensive stats I like to use are efficiency because it accounts for things like pace. But I kept these numbers raw because the scariest part to me is the Lakers play at a slower pace without Lonzo,
right?
Which means there should be fewer points scored by the Lakers and by the other team. So the fact that they give up 15 points more per game without him while playing at a slower pace is terrifying. And
0-8 though.
Yeah, they're 0-8 without
the
him.
Casual fan can go. They're 0-8 without.
Yeah,
Lonzo
they're 0-8
Ball.
without him.
That's a problem.
And their points per game differential, right?
Yeah.
With Lonzo, they are 1.4 points worse than their opposition, right? In each game they average 1.4.
When you win
points
15
worse.
games, it's going to be minus something.
Yeah, and they've won them all with Lonzo. So they're negative 1.4 per game with Lonzo. Without him, including today, negative 17. They lose games by an average of 17 points without Lonzo, a 15.6 point difference compared to with him and without him.
I know this is fascinating, but it's fascinating to me for multiple reasons.
A multitude of reasons, yeah.
I was going to say multitudes.
Yeah, you were going with it, yeah.
With Zoe giving up 108 points a game without giving up 123.
And playing at a slower pace without him. So the score should be lower than that.
And 0-8 without Zoe.
Yes.
Point differential 1.5, minus 17 without. This is analytical data, which does not lie. And I never understood when teams are like, I'm not big into analytics. Like, how could you? Analytics are what.
And this is beyond. A lot of teams.
Facts.
This is beyond. This has gotten at this point with the data with him in and with him out. This has gotten past small sample size. We can't trust this stuff.
Right. So the proof right here that I just wrote down on this index card for the Jeopardy game we're going to play in a bit that you'll have a good time with. And you can pick any celebrity impression you want to be the host.
Oh,
he's the most important guy on the team
by a wide margin. Now look.
But
I want to make one point, though.
The national narrative, because of his dad, is like, yeah, I don't know. Jury's like, no, the jury's not out. They're 0-8 without him, and they're minus 17 without him.
So to offer some nuance, because I think this is important.
I like nuance.
I think, and in social media, cologne. Twitter, etc. Oh, nuance by who?
Me.
Nuance by Jay Mohr.
You know, my grandpa.
By the way, the commercial for that definitely is all black and white. And it's people in jeans that are too tight and dudes with their shirts off, and I don't know why.
Oh. Nuance.
And a lot of just cascading water down them.
My grandfather was president of Revlon. I could totally go into the perfuming.
Oh, you should.
Jack
the scent.
I love that stuff. I wear the best cologne on earth. Nuance. so let's hear this nuance.
We've created a new set. So nuance is not very prevalent on social media, especially Twitter, because you take ones, especially with Lonzo, who is one of the most divisive. He personally isn't divisive, but opinions on him, there's not a lot of nuance in it. It's one way or the other. He's the worst or he's the best, and they just argue.
And these numbers put those to bed.
Well, they should, but I want to give a little nuance about those numbers. I think, and this is just my opinion, I think that has something to do with that Lonzo is probably better than we think or better than the narrative is. I think that's probably 75% of it. I think the other 25% of it is the replacements for Lonzo are or have been so bad that, like if you wanted the Lakers to sign Tariq Evans or you've liked Sean Livingston for a long time. So if the other option was one of those two guys, it would not look like this. But the drop-off between Lonzo and the other options is so great. The delta between them is so great. This is what you get.
Delta. I like that.
So I think it does speak positively of Lonzo, but I would caution people to use this to say Lonzo is, so good. Lonzo's a good basketball player, but I think another part of it is the difference between him and the other options.
How does it get to this point with Magic Johnson? Pelinka was a guard.
On the Michigan, on the Fab Five teams.
Fab Five. how does it get to the point where you go, yeah, we're good with a 19-year-old and Tyler Ennis and a guy that wasn't drafted out of Texas A&M?
I don't know.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't have a good answer for that.
This is
this is one of the things you want to throw, like especially with rookies. And let's be fair, the Lakers were wanting to win this year, but we're not expecting to, and have been looking towards the future. And I think a lot of it has been, let's take a lot of the young guys, throw them into the fire, develop them, so when we get the reinforcements, everybody can come together. So I think some of it has been, let's throw Lonzo into the fire and play him a bunch of minutes and see what you get and help him grow and develop as only reps in the NBA can give you. But still, I don't, or maybe they thought that they were going to get more as a true point guard out of Jordan Clarkson. Luke has been hesitant to play him as a true point guard. But the answer, the answer is really, I don't know.
We do know this, and that is with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope being of pretty large stature for a guard. He's certainly not slight at all, you know?
Yeah, no, he's good size for a two. Yeah.
What's good about that signing, and we know they wanted Avery Bradley at one time from the...
Everybody wants Avery Bradley. He's a good player.
But both guys can guard the other team's dominant guard, the guy that's more of an offensive
a really good point.
threat.
Yes, that's a good point.
A lot of pressure off Lonzo, but Lonzo still defensively is sort of like the glue here.
Well, Lonzo's been, and I think the Lakers have been pleasantly surprised about how good Lonzo has been specifically defensively, because we talked about this before the season started, that one of the positive things about signing KCP is dropping headphones. The other positive thing about KCP...
It was Julius dropping a pass.
One of the other great things about KCP was the flexibility on defense. And we said that in his days in Detroit, KCP had been good at guarding other teams' point guards, guarding other teams' best wings. Whoever the biggest threat is, KCP could handle it. And I think part of the Lakers' thinking in signing him was to take, as you just said, take some of the pressure off of Lonzo defensively. Is it your two that's the biggest threat? Okay, we can put KCP on him. Is it your point guard? We can put KCP on him. And kind of let Lonzo, who's incredibly big for a point guard,
6'6".
Yeah, 6'6", 6'7". He can guard, the other guy. But Lonzo has proven to be capable of guarding. There's definitely some things to work out with screen and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that was part of the reason. You're right about that. Part of the allure of KCP was to be able to switch onto whoever the biggest perimeter threat from the opponent was.
He guards the dominant guard for the other team, and that takes a lot of pressure off Alonzo.
Correct, which he doesn't. Which he apparently doesn't need.
Right, but it's I sound like Chris, but it does. It does take pressure.
Your thoughts
off
and prayers are with
the offensive end. He has more energy. KCP, you said the wing. I don't have a memory of KCP guarding the wing. Like Corey Brewer comes in, and that's his job, like guard the wing. KCP perimeter defense, I love.
Yeah, it's been good.
And down low, he'll swipe. I don't really recall him like guarding the wing, but that's not on him. That's not this. Is he a good wing? I'm asking you genuinely because
I mean, is he? He's an above average.
Is he better than Corey Brewer?
I would say yes, except if we're talking about Devin Booker, because for whatever reason Corey Brewer seems to thrive on shutting down Devin Booker, who I think is actually probably should, as bad as the Suns are, probably should be an all-star this year.
Yeah, what else you got to do? Let's play Jeopardy.
I love it. Let's do it
after this.
Can't get enough golf? Podcast One is the new home of Golflandia with Matthew Wiley. Every Monday, all season long. Tune in to hear Matt talk predictions, tournament recaps, and interview guests from in and around the world of PGA and Euro golf. He'll even talk business, branding, and family life, because it all relates to golf. Download episodes of Golflandia every Monday exclusively on PodcastOne.com, the new Podcast One app, and Apple Podcasts.
America's Lakers podcast. Jay Mohr, Aaron Larsoul, Corey Fry. Please rate and review on iTunes.
By the way, I'm not going to let you do this without singing Fry Fry 42.
Fry Fry, hush hush, IUI 42.
Thank you.
I got to come up with an Aaron Larsoul song.
Yeah, I just sing Corey's all the time. I'm with that.
Aaron Larsoul.
I keep wishing my faces had a sound.
Your faces haven't had a sound?
I make faces at you guys.
Oh,
like,
yes, you do.
People
Yes.
can hear my faces.
Right. Yes, you do.
I can hear your face.
Right. Like all the 5th grade English teachers or my mom or something. Like, I'm supposed to know what this face means, and I'm scared. I don't know. What do I do now? I want to go home.
You got to read the faces.
Right.
That is life. I don't have to pay for that song.
Right. Well,
is that a Merv Griffin?
It's an exactly 30-second, right? Isn't that the thing? It's exactly 30 seconds because they play it at the final Jeopardy.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it is.
assume you're correct.
Yeah.
We have 2 categories left on the board. Aaron Larson,
All right.
you have control of the board.
Okay.
Front court, back court, you have control of the board.
Are there any dollar amounts, or I'm just going front court or back court?
All right. Let's look.
This is by the way, my favorite thing is pressuring you into more details. So
when
I
have you
can.
ever heard me? When have you seen me feel pressure?
It's my favorite thing, so I
Say
can.
that on mic. When have you ever seen me feel pressure?
So I can perfect the fact that if I get anything wrong, it's because I didn't get enough detail to answer first.
Oh,
I'm gonna go.
the game. I'm comatose when pressure arrives, man. You know me.
Of course you are. I'm going to go back court, JJ Alec
For
whatever
what
amount,
celebrity
for whatever
impression?
amount there is. I would like. Well, I told you this the other day. I want more Christopher Walken because I just watched A View to a Kill, and it's one of my favorite Bond movies. Even
Good,
though it's absolutely
right on schedule.
It's absolutely awful, and I love it. And it's the only Duran Duran song I know.
Well, why don't we play the game? Aaron Lasoul for 400 points.
Backcourt for 400.
Jeopardy. I thought you said front court.
Front court for 400. Then,
even though I'm 6'9",
Mm-hmm.
I only have 0.7 blocks a game. Who am I? The answer in the form of a question.
Yes,
It's Jeopardy.
Yes. Who is Larry Nance Jr.?
I'm sorry. We're looking for
Who is Julius Randle?
Brandon Ingram. Ingram, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
all right,
you still have control of the board,
Oof.
front court or back court.
I want to go front
Is
court.
he going to go like real snarky, like when you get it wrong?
Yeah, like, right.
Sorry, we were looking for Brandon Ingram. Sorry.
I would like to go front
know
court.
nothing.
I would like to go front court for whatever dollar values are left.
You choose.
Front court for 800.
Make a decision. It's fine. Go
All right.
big or go
I would
home.
Like front court. Go big or go. I think I just got challenged by Christopher Walken Trebek.
Yeah.
I'm going to go front court for 1,000 then.
Why not 800,000? Make it a party.
Front court for 800,000. Alex Trebek.
Another
Walken.
front court question. It's crazy.
All right.
I play 23 minutes a game, but I only take 9 shots. Or I play 23 minutes a game and I take 9 shots.
Who is
crazy.
Julius Randle?
That is correct. You just got $800,000. You have control of the board.
Can I quit now? Front court. Let's go. Let's keep running through front court. Alex Trebek Walken.
The first 6 years of my career, from 3, I shot 0%.
That sounds like who is Brooke Lopez?
That's correct. Another 800,000 for you. Back to back. Oh, it's a daily double. It's crazy.
Oh, I like this.
Even though you didn't choose yet.
I would like to. I would like to risk whatever it is I have.
Let's do backcourts.
All right, let's go. I would like to go backcourt, and whichever one is the daily double, and I would like to risk. I would like to risk everything I have. Christopher Walken Trebek.
You have $1.6 million.
I want all that.
And you're going to risk all of that for your daily double question.
I feel good about the backcourt.
I'm a guard in the NBA. That's how I make my living. Well over $1 million
Okay.
a year. But for 3, I shoot 12%.
Oh, no.
0.125.
Oh, that's can we say that's 13% then?
From way downtown.
I think
that's 12.5.
I think you're shorting him. 12.5%, and you make well over $1 million.
No, just, you're an NBA basketball player.
Yes.
You don't make chump change.
No, you do not.
Let's say you make a living. It's crazy.
Right.
So I'm an NBA basketball player with a contract, but from 3.
Who is...
I shoot.
You shoot 12.5%. Who is Tyler Ennis?
You have $3 million.
Oh, I'm done with
Buy
all
the
this.
most expensive wine you can find.
I'm done with all this.
No, you can't
this
be done.
podcast is over. Oh.
Here you are.
Okay.
I play in the
going
NBA.
We're going backcourt again?
Backcourt, of course.
Backcourt for whatever dollar amount is left. Trebek, Walken,
3
Chris.
point something. $3.2 million in your pocket. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I like that.
Look
Okay.
at you walking around town like a man.
It's heavy.
You're a man.
Mm-hmm. I am. I'm a man.
I'm an NBA guard.
Okay.
That's my job.
Yeah.
That's why I get my money.
It's a good job.
They pay me to do these things.
Okay. They do
I
pay you to
shoot
do NBA
basketballs.
guard things. Yeah.
Back court. Mm-hmm. But from the free throw line, I'm under 50%. I'm at 48. It's
Who is
crazy.
Lonzo Ball?
You got $74 billion.
I like this.
Give him your money.
Right, I like this.
All right.
I'm starting to get
one more. You got control of the board. Aaron Lasul.
getting that Norm Pettis money.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
I want to go backcourt for whatever dollar amount is
More
left.
backcourt.
Yeah.
Not front court. More backcourt.
More backcourt.
Crazy.
I like the backcourt. Alt droopy.
It's crazy. More backcourt.
Yep.
I play guard in the NBA. Point guard, shooting guard.
Okay.
If there's another kind of guard, I would play that as well.
Prison guard. I don't know.
Prison guard.
Yeah. Security guard.
Lifeguard.
Lifeguard.
But I
all
only
that.
have 2 assists.
Do you wear the
a
Zinca
game.
on your nose?
34 minutes, 2 assists. That's deplorable.
You're playing 34 minutes a night.
2 assists.
You're playing 34 minutes a night.
I'm a
and
lifeguard.
You're playing 34 minutes a night
I'm
on
a
the
1, I'm a
Lakers,
2,
and there's
I'm a 12. It's crazy.
2 assists.
Baker's dozen.
Who is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope?
I'm sorry.
He has more assists than that, I think.
We're looking for Jordan Clarkson.
Jordan Clarkson plays 34 minutes a night?
I'm Coach Tony Bennett. Let me tell you something, everybody. If you have 2 assists after a half hour of basketball,
Yeah.
you got to take a trip on a train
Yeah, that's
to
not
another
enough.
team
That's not well. I
for
think,
Avery Bradley.
I think Jordan Clarkson is the most likely Laker to be traded.
A foggy day in Detroit town. Avery came to make the Lakers sound. All right,
They're
man.
gonna have to throw something in. Detroit basketball is gonna have to throw something in to make the money work. So maybe Avery Bradley and I don't know, Anthony Tolliver.
I'll take Ben Wallace now.
I don't know what Ben Wallace is doing. We got to find. I'm going to find that out
Time.
for the next.
No matter who it was, I would have said, I just love one syllable. You know me, I love
Yeah.
one syllable jokes.
Yeah, I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out for the next episode what Ben Wallace is doing.
Nationally, Clippers and Rockets get in some fisticuffs. Chris Paul, the most powerful man in the NBA, because Trevor Ariza gets suspended 2 games. The other guy,
Gerald Green. Yep. Who's
sus-
by the way been in Houston. Well, he's been in Houston because that's where he's from. But he's been a member of the Rockets for like 5 or 6 games, and he was not afraid to be involved in everything that he could be involved in.
I'm going to say
Good
when he comes
teammate.
back from his suspension, he's the most popular guy in the locker room.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what's
Well,
up, GG?
He's also had the Rockets logo and then the Houston Astros logo shaved into his rose. He has like a pattern of cornrows.
He has a tattoo of Bun B on his back.
He does have some.
Trill.
He does have a little bit of ink.
How about TR on one calf and ILL on the other calf?
I would guess your boy Bun knows him. Grandpa Bun.
Of course he does.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. That's Houston royalty.
Is Chris Paul not suspended? He was in the
Yeah,
mix
so you know
the
what's very
entire
strange?
time, and
Yeah.
he's the president of the Players Association.
It's very
and
strange to me because
changed the amount of the length of a contract. Like,
Yeah, for guys-
is Chris
for
Paul
older
the most
guys.
powerful player? I mean, it's LeBron.
I think it's LeBron, but Chris Paul is like he's right there with the next.
Does
group of
LeBron
guys.
get suspended if he's Chris Paul in the situation?
No.
Really?
James Harden didn't get suspended either, but Chris Paul was right in the middle of all of this.
Hold my beard, man.
It was the main part. Chris was one of the main participants, and Blake Austin Rivers was yapping from the bench.
And with Blake and Austin Rivers, did they get
Blake,
suspended?
no Clippers were suspended.
I should read newspapers once in a while.
I mean, if those things still exist, yes.
Let me get this straight. I get all the information in real time on my computer right now.
Right, or
for
should I-
tomorrow, you're going
Right.
to throw a newspaper into my wet bushes, and it
Right.
costs me $14 a week.
Right. Let me see if I can get ink on my fingers to find out stuff that is somewhere between 12 and 112 hours old.
Thanks for all
Perfect.
those Big Five ads.
Perfect. There was quite a few participants. Blake ran into Mike D'Antoni, which was interesting.
D'Antoni was hot.
Yeah,
he
they
should
went-
have been suspended.
They went,
for
they
looking
went
like
back
the guy
and
in the
forth.
Pringles can.
But then there was rumors that Chris Paul and James Harden got into it in the Houston locker room, which have maybe been debunked. And then Chris Paul, James Harden, Gerald Green, and Trevor Ariza go on a mission through the back hallways, the secret hallways of the Staples Center, looking for a fight, presumably looking for Austin Rivers and Blake Griffin in the Clippers locker room.
I sent 4 guys to beat up Blake Griffin. All you do is go, watch out, and he's going to go, my leg.
Actually,
now we're hurt again. We're hurt again. Blake got hurt because they came to the locker room.
That's a good point. Yeah, so it was just more for Doc to say. And then my favorite part of all of this story, and it's very strange to me because Chris Paul is at the center of all of this and did not get suspended, which is strange.
Chris Paul, James Harden,
Gerald Green, and Ariza.
Gigi and
Ariza, who's an LA guy, played for the Lakers.
He's all out of what.
Trevor does not care. UCLA guy and a Compton guy.
This for you too.
So they go, and then my favorite part of all of this is, and I don't even know if this was like a coordinated attack, but the Houston Rockets send the Swiss guy. There are not a lot of black guys in Switzerland, I would guess, but they send a 6'10" black Swiss man to knock on the front door of the Clippers locker room as a Trojan horse diversion so that Chris Paul and his cronies can sneak in the back door.
Man, I don't know no damn Harold. Like, it's
so
easy.
So Clint Capella knocks on the front door.
Swiss timing.
Clint Capella knocks on the front door. A Clippers staffer opens the door, the front door to the locker room, the Clippers locker room, sees Clint Capella, slams the door on him, and apparently all of this is foiled because I don't know who, but somebody from the Clippers calls the LAPD to alert them that all of this is going on.
Bush League move, man. That's a suburban move.
So there's great.
That's some Oklahoma business.
Inside the NBA, which is
that's some university. That's Oklahoma. That's Oklahoma business, man. Call the cops. I don't want to get out of my bubble wrap.
Out here snitching. In my opinion, Inside the NBA is the best show on television, and all of this is happening because the game was on TNT. All of this is happening in real time. Shout out to Shaq, who's our friend and teammate on Podcast One.
I appreciate that very much.
So all of this is happening kind of in real time, and the guys are reacting to it. Shaq and Kenny and Charles are all reacting to it on Inside the NBA, and it is Shaq and Charles are absolutely losing it, clowning all the Clippers for saying they're afraid of little Chris Paul coming to their locker room. It was some of the best TV.
If Shaq and Kenny Smith and and Sir Charles are talking about it, it happened. It's like, well, I heard these guys don't make a living on did you hear the rumor? Word on the street is word on the street, man.
Of course.
The barbershops are the barbershops for a reason. That happened. Did Clint Capella speak French, Swiss? What language did he speak at the door? English?
I don't know. He definitely speaks English, but I'm going to go Swiss. I want it to be Swiss. I'm going to say Swiss.
You're the one that hit me to his game, and I've been paying attention specifically. He's been above the rim a lot.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Lately. I like the fact that, after a fight, the Houston Rockets plan a caper. It's like Ocean's 15. You go to the door and go, hey, is Blake home? Now here's the big question.
Yes.
He also could have been speaking Romansh, Italian, or German. As a Swiss man. All right, James Harden, Gerald Green, Chris Paul, Clint Capella was the diversion. We got Austin Rivers, Blake Griffin. I feel like I'm missing one Rocket. Trevor Ariza.
Yes.
Straight up, they just start throwing bows. Who wins the fight? I'm going to go Ariza. Long.
No, I think Ariza's probably Ariza. Strangely, PJ Tucker for the Rockets not involved. He's somebody I would not trifle with. And
if Alfred Payton's in this mix, I'm like, yeah, that's a wrap. Alfred Payton's killing everybody.
Also, I think I'm going. PJ Tucker wasn't really. Yeah, so of the actual participants, I think I'm going with Trevor Ariza of the actual participants.
Cliff Paul, where was he?
I assumed that he was trying to sneak in with the fake mustache. I figured that was going to be the diversion he was going that Chris was going to use.
Not my favorite ad.
No, they're not great.
I got a mustache. I'm this other guy. Not exactly Michael Jordan selling underpants with a mustache of a dictator. That was maybe the best athletic ad of all time. Chris Paul, the pride of Winston-Salem, he's listed at 6 foot. I think, I'll give him I think he is 6 foot, Chris Paul. But Winston-Salem, not known for...
he's smaller than me.
Okay.
I'm almost 6'1", and he's smaller than me.
Chris Paul did not watch the Clippers tribute video. What were
Oh
they
yeah,
tributing?
so there was a video.
Taylor Swift?
No, it was Chris Paul in his return. It was his first game back to play against the Clippers. So they gave him a tribute video for all of his time there, and he was. They asked him about it after the game. They were asking him other questions about him fighting in locker rooms, and he didn't want any part of any of it. So they asked him about what he thought of the tribute video, and he said, "I was talking to my coach about defensive coverages, so I didn't see it."
That's what I would want my point guard doing, actually. But what I love is in the video, it's him as a Clipper just waxing poetic about how great it is to be a Clipper. A lot of people see wins and losses, but it's the culture of our team. He says of the Clippers in the clip, if you aren't trying to contend with the Warriors, then what are you doing? You know what I mean? If you aren't trying to contend with them, then what are you doing? Apparently you're on an airplane in first class and you're way to Houston to contend with the Warriors.
My favorite part about all of this is he, in the press conference after, or in the media scrum, it wasn't really I guess we've learned that if there's more than one media member asking questions, it's officially a press conference. So they are asking him about all sorts of things, and he didn't get along with Blake at all when he was a Clipper.
No,
and
he
is
was
just
chipping the whole game. It was
he's
great.
just taking thinly veiled shots at Blake, saying things like, well, the Clippers are pretty good, but they should definitely play through their go-to guy, Lou Williams. Just leaving Blake out, just terribly thinly veiled shots at him.
Well, let me ask you this, though.
Yes.
There was a stat on ESPN, I guess it was SportsCenter. Yeah, Scott Van Pelt at SportsCenter. Like he had something, I don't know, like 300 points in 6 games, something kooky. Obviously not that many.
No.
But I saw
Lou
the
Williams,
exact same stat.
He had 50 against the Warriors. He had 40, I think, the game before that. He had scored, I think now he has scored, he's averaging, this month, he's averaging like 32 points a game. In January, he had 6 or 7 games of 30 points off the bench in the last, 6 weeks. So
right, but
I
saw the exact same video and graphics last year when he was with the Lakers. Like in his last 6 games,
Lou Williams would get
he has
buckets.
300 points.
Lou Williams would get buckets.
Then why does anybody let him out of the building? He's not a bad teammate.
No, because he only gets buckets.
That's how you win games, right? I know you got to play defense as well.
You do have to. I mean,
when Pat Riley said no rebounds, no rings, I disagree vociferously.
Well, I always I always want to just score as much as you can, but
you got to score one more than the other team, baby.
That's true.
Not one more rebound. Lakers got 8
rebounds.
rebounds.
There's those guys, and Jordan hasn't been this way as much this year, but there are those guys like Jordan Clarkson, like Swag, who was here last year as a Warrior now, like Lou Williams, like Jamal Crawford, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These guys that just come in and fill it up, and they can be incredibly valuable. But they have to be in the right situation. And if you're going to give me 25 and give up 27...
The guys you mentioned, apparently there is no right situation because they're all on their 6th team.
Correct. Well, other than Jordan. Jordan's just a Laker.
That's correct.
But, yeah, Jamal's been everywhere.
6 versions
Swag
of the Lakers.
Swag has been everywhere.
People don't realize that. He's
Lou
just a Laker
Williams
for
has
life.
been everywhere. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
So those guys that just come in and just get buckets...
Let's look ahead. Our friends here, we got the Los Angeles Lakers playing the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, the Pacers Friday night, and then the Knicks. It's here, yes, in Los Angeles at the Downtown Hoops Dojo, as our friend says.
I love you, Victor Brick Jacobs. Feeling you.
Friday, Indiana comes to town, and then Sunday, the Knicks in a matinee. It's a 12:30 start here on the West Coast. And
I love those.
I believe it's Tuesday or Wednesday, I think, is the 23rd is the Celtics are in town. So I believe those are the next 3. It's Indiana, Knicks, Celtics, the next 3 here at Staples Center.
Chris Paul doesn't like Blake Griffin. They don't like each other, right?
Correct.
Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, who wins the fight?
Chris Paul.
Really? The size differential alone, I would think. I agree. Doc Rivers apparently does not like Chris Paul at all.
No, well, Doc and Austin, yeah. The whole Rivers clan.
Doc's quotes about Chris Paul not watching the tribute and taking shots at Blake. Listen, when you leave, you should just leave, honestly. I like the honestly. You should just leave, honestly. I don't think you have to try to burn the house down or justify why you left. That's why I would. That's what I would say to it. I like our culture.
Well, what's funny? Patrick Beverly also tweeted out. It was a great NBA Twitter was at its best. What night was that? 2 nights ago. NBA Twitter was at its absolute best, and Patrick Beverly said, "There's basically on Twitter. There's a new culture. Ain't no more soft ass S here in Los Angeles." Talking about Chris Paul, it was great.
Wow. So I didn't know Chris Paul was that unliked by just the Clippers. And isn't that a compliment though? If the Clippers don't like you, you're doing something right.
Yeah, and if you're on your way out, if guys don't like you on your way out, that says something.
JJ Redick on the record saying he's a tough guy to play with too. So as Chris Rock said, if people say something about you for 10 years, it's true.
It's probably true.
All right, my man. This was fun.
It was.
And, it's now 3 a.m. We're going to go 24-hour bowling as I wait for my laundry to be done.
Can we get the little blow-up inflatable thing so I can't
throw gutter?
Yeah, the bumpers so I can't throw gutter balls?
If my kid wants bumpers, we're going to get you bumpers.
Is it going to be in the black light? I like the black light.
You want black light
and
bumpers?
I like the black light.
Hey, my son wants... Hey, he's a big kid. Leave him alone. He's my son. Just trust us. Are you old enough to be my son? I'd have you when I'm, 10?
6?
Oh.
Or 5?
Corey Fry, Aaron Larsoul, Jay Mohr. We'll be back, and we have a great time bringing you this podcast. And these are 3 people, we really love each other. And we were talking about this podcast. Like, what's the best part about doing the podcast? First of all, to represent the Lakers is an honor.
Number one.
And
I love you both, but that's number one.
We get to see each other a couple times a week.
We do.
And that's I think that's what podcasting has become. Like, I do the other podcast, More Stories, and it's like, I get to see Brooks Wheelan. I get to see, Henry Rollins is coming through in March, and, Rufus Wainwright's going to be in town in March. It'll be good to see old buddies, Duff from GNR.
Yes, but now that we're into 3 o'clock in the morning, you know who I don't get to see? My girlfriend.
There's the gold standard.
And the purple and gold standard.
Put your name on it.
Thanks for listening to America's Lakers Podcast with Jay Mohr, exclusively on Podcast One Sportsnet. New episodes every Wednesday on PodcastOne.com, the Podcast One app, or subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month, 2 months in a row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just had a new idea for our song about the Name Your Price tool. So when it's like, tell us what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, blah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then we just all do finger snaps while a choir goes, savings coming at ya, savings coming at ya. Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, see your practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.